Statesman Vladimir Lenin once remarked, "Sometimes history needs a push," and Lenin did just that for Russian history. Lenin revolutionized Russia through political, military, and economic changes, bringing about the start of communism in Russia. Lenin brought out these changes during the course of revolutionizing Russia, leading the Bolshevik Party to victory during Civil War, and founding the USSR. Lenin wanted to show the world the blessings of socialism, so in April 1917, Lenin wrote the April Thesis, a layout of the strategy that the Bolsheviks, later renamed the Communists, would use to gain control of Russia. Lenin was the chairman of the Bolshevik Party, which led the October Revolution, overthrowing the Republican Provisional Government and founding the USSR. Lenin promises land, peace, independence, and a red heaven on earth. Following the Bolshevik Revolution, land was taken away from the Tsar, the church, the nobles, and landlords, to be then distributed among peasants. Lenin wanted to make working conditions better and improve education. Private newspapers were banned. The Cheka, a secret police force dedicated to removing all resistance to the Communist Party, was established. Labor conditions were limited to a maximum of 8 hours of work a day. Lenin implemented free night classes to teach literacy to lower-class adults. These classes were also open to women, something not allowed before Lenin's rule. These classes were based on a strong teaching of the benefits of communism. Lenin nationalized banks, large factories, and land. All businesses with 10 or more people were nationalized, with no compensation. All private trade was abolished. Food was distributed through ration cards, and workers were paid with food rations. Workers were assigned by the government and strikes were outlawed. Industrial production declined. Factories were closed because they had no raw materials and fuel was in a short supply. Lenin was opposed to World War I and signed the Brest-Litovsk Treaty, withdrawing Russia from the war. After the treaty, the Russian economy reached a crisis, which Lenin believed would be solved by a centralized single political party to be the sole lawmaker and enforcer of policies in Russia. To review, socially, Lenin started offering classes and decreased work hours. Politically, Russia transitioned from a republic to a dictatorship. In regards to military, the Red Army was created, and economically, the economic system of communism was implemented. The Civil War of 1918 was between the Bolshevik Party and all other political parties. The Tsars, Liberals, SRs, and Mensheviks, deemed the anti-Bolsheviks, or the White Army. Lenin implemented war communism, using food confiscation and relocation of crops to keep Bolshevik towns well supplied. There were many disincentives for farmers, leading to another shortage of food. About 7.5 million Russians died from starvation during the war. This was attributed to war communism and the shortage of food it caused for the peasants. On top of that, there was a severe drought in 1921. Industrial production fell by 40% during war communism. Many historians agree that war communism helped ensure a Bolshevik victory, but there is controversy over whether or not it was overall a successful program, because it nearly caused the collapse of the Russian economy in 1921. Author Sally J. Taylor agreed that war communism helped the Bolsheviks win the war, but also says that it left the entire nation exhausted, in a state of virtual collapse. Author B. Williams likewise attributes war communism was a part of the Bolshevik victory, but then goes on to state that the alarming statistics of it, including population decrease, productivity decrease, and loss of workforce. Looking back, the changes that Lenin implemented during the Civil War were disincentivizing farmers, starting war communism, beginning the Civil War, and reducing industrial production. Lenin introduced a new economic policy, which partially privatized agricultural production, allowing peasants to sell crops to local markets after paying taxes. Private ownership of smaller industries were permitted, but industries such as banking and power supplies were still government controlled. The new economic policy restored Russia's economy and was much more sustainable than war communism. War communism remained in effect until Lenin's death in 1924, at which point his successor, Joseph Stalin, ended it because he thought it was too focused on capitalism. To recap, the changes that brought about the start of communism during the new economic policy was the transition from Lenin to Stalin and the new economic policy itself. Overall, it is clear how Lenin's changes in social policies, politics, military, and economy helped bring about the start of communism in Russia.